10 seconds to insertion. Insertion in 5 seconds. You've located a bomb. Make your way to its location and defuse it. Must recover the diffuser. The diffuser has been secured. Last operator standing. One Op 4 remaining. Bomb diffusion initiated. Protect the diffuser. Op 4 eliminated. Friendly drone deployed. Op 4 is reinforcing its location. Ten seconds to go. 5 seconds to go. Proceed to bomb's location and defuse it.
Cluster charge going up!
Cluster charge deployed. One deployed.
The diffuser has been secured.
Get off!
15 seconds left.
Say, time to ring some ears.
10 seconds left. 5 seconds left.
System.
Must recover the diffuser. The time limit is... Be ready to eliminate hostiles. Seconds. 5 seconds to insertion. Op 4 has located a bomb. Be ready for hostile action.
Strike deployed barrier. Kiva successfully deployed.
Located the diffuser. Destroy it. Op 4, last stop standing. You have disabled the bomb diffuser. Good work. Mission successful. Be ready to engage Op 4. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds. Bomb located by Op 4.
Wall secured. Kiva deployed. The Kiva barrier is activated.
I'm reloading! Set. Stay clear!
Ambush set. Stay
deployed. We have some time.
Reloading on ammo! Swapping mags! Reload!
Op 4, last stop standing. Op 4 eliminated. Mission successful.
To throw this guy on.
Friendly drone deployed. Op 4 is reinforcing its location. Ten seconds to insertion. Proceed to bomb's location and defuse it.
Yes, there we go. Okay, now drive very careful.
Wherever you are. Time to make a new door. Claymore mine active. Swapping max.
The diffuser has been recovered.
Teammate.
10 seconds to insertion. 5 seconds to insertion. Proceed to bomb's location and defuse it.
Special charge. Stay clear. Look out. In 5.
Incoming adrenaline boost.
In position.
Tracer thermal touch. Clear.
Loading the magazine.
Op 4 last stop standing. Op 4 neutralized. Mission successful. To eliminate hostiles.
Finished reinforcing the wall!
Activating jammer. ATS deployed and ready to go.
Ten seconds to insertion.
Initiating jammer.
5 seconds and counting. Bomb located by Op 4.
Deploying ATS. Deploying jammer.
Wall reinforced!
Looking for support.
Never ready!
Friendly, last operator standing. Your identity has been compromised. Mission failed. All friendlies were eliminated. Hostiles.
Setting the welcome mat.
Reinforce the wall!
Let them come.
Down to 10 seconds.
Device primed. Keep an eye on door.
5 seconds left.
Set. Stay clear. Doorway trapped.
Op 4 has located a bomb.
Deploying welcome mat. Ready for company.
Time for some serious protection.
Transferring.
Reload.
Deploy barrier.
Transfer underway.
Op 4, last stop standing. Friendlies victorious. Hostiles eliminated.
You've already read the title, so you know what today's video is going to be about. I'm going to show you how to stream. So, to get started,
Hey everybody, this is Critical Art 64, and today I will beat the dead horse that is Concord until all that is left is a puddle of Elmer's glue. Just like the last 3 videos, I will roast the original Concord design, explain my sketch, and show what my design would more or less look like if rendered in 3D. I will be redesigning Hay and show what my design would more or less look like if rendered in 3D. I will be redesigning Hamar, Lark, and Roka.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Now let's start off with the normal one, Hamar. She looks like if Netflix ran out of Avatar material to make adaptations out of, so they made their own sequel of Avatar, starring Ming-Na Wen held at gunpoint. Called Avatar. The last gender bender. Lender dash blender contender. Now with the blender. All jokes aside, she is the most conventionally attractive character in the whole roster, so I guarantee she's the most popular one. And also, 2 + 2 = 4, and fire is hot when you touch it. The only issues with the design are it reads a little bit like a villainess, but she's played like a quirky millennial that says like ugh after every inconvenience, and her shoes are just an eyesore. You typically never use your shoes as a color pop since it draws the eyes downward unless you had like the most epic shoes possible, yoink. Instead, she got the agenda as a social construct ones, yoink. Draws the eyes, it's an eyesore. You typically never use your shoes as a color pop since it draws the eyes down, eyes as like ugh. But she's played like a quirky, it reads a little bit like a villainess, but she's played like a quirky millennial that says like ugh after every inconvenience, and her shoes are just an eyesore. You typically never use your shoes as a color pop since it draws the eyes downward unless you had like the most epic shoes possible, yoink. Instead, she got the agenda as a social construct ones. Here's mine. Irene struct ones. Here's mine. I renamed her Hymara instead of Hamar since it sounds better to me. Since she's a pyromancer, I made her costume a little more magician and less Franciscan monk. I also thought, since her costume seemed more ancient and cultural compared to the rest of the cast, that she would make more sense being more of a gypsy Sephardic woman rather than a like Southeast Asian. I would also make her eyes glow when she's using her powers, and I added the alchemical symbol for fire on her back for better authenticity. Here's the before and after, and I mean, come on. Next up is Lark. He looks like if Abe Sapien from Hellboy got infected with quadricep mushrooms, Last of Us style, and the fungus spores had a gay agenda. He's clearly voiced by a man, but is wearing a diesel punk dress with ribbons on it.
Fight is won.
Here's mine. I renamed him Lurk, which is decidedly more badass. He has roots, and he lives off photosynthesis. He can hack machines with his spores. I obviously made him more like a mushroom. He communicates using pheromones, so even though he doesn't speak, you would understand him. He mainly just makes like funny groin sounds, like it would be cool if he had like mushroom grenades that made you hallucinate. I would also make his eyes really expressive for maximum charisma. It would also be funny if little chunks of mushroom fell off when he gets shot. Here's the before and after. 1. A confusing and tumor-addled fungus twink, and another, a cool mushit boy. Next up is Roka. She looks like if they made a Trick or Treat sequel called Trick or Treat in Space, and then gave Sam like an older sister with like a bazooka. This character flies around but has no visible means of propulsion and is in no way aerodynamic. Here's mine. I renamed her Rocket, codename R34. She has a jetpack, and her gloves and boots can shoot jets a la Tony Stark. I would also have her wings deploy when she's airborne. Let's do a flight test here. Hey, look at that. Pretty good. Do a little flippy-do. Alright, now let's try Roka. Okay, easy does it. Oh god, she's losing altitude. Her head's weighing her down. Oh god. Oh no, it's the Pentagon. Now, which one would be an NPC, and which one would be a protagonist you could put on a box? That about sums up this batch. Only one more Concord vid to go. Let me know what... Hey everybody, it's Critical Art 64, and today I will beat the dead horse that is Concord, hopefully for the final time. But since that horse has been beaten into Elmer's glue, I will use that glue for the paper mache I will use to make a horse piñata. Then beat it open and feed the circus peanuts that fall out to its pony children. As with the last vid, I will roast the design, explain my sketch, show what my design would look like in 3D animation. I will be redesigning De Veers, Jabali, Kips, and One-Off. First up is the character De Veers, they, them. She looks like a character if there was an alternate universe where the 2016 gender-bend Ghostbusters movie was a smash hit, to the point that they created a sequel where instead of hunting ghosts, they hunt Ku Klux Klan members in space. I swear all the women in this game have the most smug faces ever.
The expert's on it.
It's like if Rosie the Riveter started look maxing and like mewing. Other than that, it's just a hazmat woman with external intestines like a colostomy bag and a profound affinity for Doc Martens and Subarus. Her name is some goofy Dutch name, De Veers, so I named mine Davers. She's still a lesbo, but a hot one. I made her look more like an old sci-fi character. I put her toxic slime canisters on her back and made her way less punchable in the face. Here's the before and after, from trashy to classy. Next up is Jabal. Ollie, more like Jabroni. This guy looks like if Spike Lee, after directing the Old Boy remake for some reason, decided to make a live-action adaptation of the anime Hellsing with Phil Lamar as Alucard. With that teal coat and sun hat, he looks like he moved to Montana to be a dental floss tycoon.
I might be moving to Montana soon, just to raise me a crop of dental floss, raising it up and waxing it down, just so I can put it in a small white box and sell it downtown.
He has dreads and is vaguely pimp-like, so I made mine a Jamaican space pimp with robo-hose named Jobless. The game is rated teen, and young millennials and old Gen Z people are little girls about this stuff, so his pimpery would only be implied. He'd be like, "Y'all could hang out with my robot friends all you like. You just got to pay the friendship fee, mon."
Match found.
Okay, but what do I get? You can play hide and go seek or whatever your crazy kids get up to for the next 30 minutes, or that mercy. Way better than this weak personality they gave my guy. In the game, he says this.
I'm not competitive, but I'm gonna crush this.
Whereas mine would say, "I'm the best motherfucker alive, man." Here's the before and after from nice guy to Superfly. Next up is Kips. Do you know what she looks like? Remember when there was a controversy when Barack Obama got a backlash for wearing a tan suit during a war press conference? She looks like if the deep state converted him into a gay grape-flavored robot for his insolence. I was really looking forward to this redesign since suits are my specialty. I wear tailored suits on the weekdays, so it's something that I'm passionate and knowledgeable about. So this will be the first of a new segment where I get overly critical about suits and all the rules, called bespoke or broke. First, the silhouette. The shoulders are weak and undecided, as if they are unsure to be structured or not. I like the high-waisted trousers, but the jacket is too short. which causes a break in the middle of the body, which defeats the whole purpose of a suit, which is to make a continuous color block or silhouette that is to be slimming, convey a stature and authority and formality. This would be acceptable if the skirt or trousers were a different color, but it would no longer be a suit. It would then be a spezzato, which is when you mix two different suits of a different color or an ensemble. When picking suit colors, you should consider skin tone and contrast between your hair and skin. Higher contrast suits for higher contrast hair. She having bubblegum colored hair and skin, a blue or gray suit would be preferable, with light to medium, low contrasting colors. The shirt should be lighter than the suit, ideally a color neutral, and the tie should be darker than the shirt. Unless you are a musician, clown, gigolo, or it's just a costume. It makes it look like you don't know what you're doing, and that you are cheap and sleazy. And finally, the shoes. Since they are the same color as the skin, it is unclear if she is barefoot. I mean, hey, sometimes I wear suits barefoot when I work from home. Your shoes should be darker or close to the same value as your suit, and should closely match your belt, if you are wearing one, which is not ideal for suits as they are more casual and make it seem like your trousers don't fit. Voila! All jokes and purposefully obtuse criticism aside, she's one of my favorite designs and I would main her since I'm a big suit guy. I would have a robot costume similar to this as a DLC for my version, but for the main costume I would make her look like a replicant from Blade Runner. Her name, Kips, would be an acronym for Kinetically Yielded Precision Shooter, and would be a robot assassin. I made mine look like she could be more of a spy, like if she did corporate espionage. Then she puts on her visor, which gives her omnidirectional vision. Her outfit does follow suit rules, and as Rohan from Sam's Tailor would say,
definitely gift wrapped in my 4D fit. I love the double vents because when you pull it up, you can see his ass straight away.
Here's the before and after, from it's ma'am to yes ma'am. Last but certainly not least is one-off. The whole game's a one-off. He's fine as is and I'm done.
You chord, I chord, the R chord for Concord. Oh yeah, that's the end credits.
I'm joking, don't click off. I think his design is perfectly fine, but I'll do him since I did everyone else. I'm a man of my word. Here we go, one-off. He looks like if Gatorade was an even more evil and shadowy corporation, and they created a giant sentient version of those drink coolers that football players dump on each other. And his sole purpose is to travel back in time to force John Connor to, drink all the Gatorade he can possibly handle. He looks pretty good, so I'll just make my own just random design. I'm going to make mine a old stereotypical sci-fi robot with clamp hands. His original name One-Off doesn't cut it. I mean, this whole game's a one-off. So I named mine One-Up. As in I am one-upping the design team. He's a construction robot that was trained off of construction workers, but became too politically incorrect. So they decommissioned him, and he became like a foul-mouthed bounty hunter who collects bounties to, I guess, like...
Going up.
do maintenance on his circuits. He'd have like a robot.
This is a character from the game Concord, and despite being the most generic of the character lineup gameplay-wise, he's got the goofiest design, which doesn't seem to fit the game setting. So let's see if we can improve it. The first character that comes to mind when I look at this is the Scout from Team Fortress 2. So let's go a bit heavier on the armor first to clearly distinguish him. In the gameplay, he uses a lot of smoke grenades, so maybe he could have a helmet with lenses that can see through it. He can even pop them up to look more like Mickey Mouse, or not. Let's also adjust his shirt with longer sleeves and replace his shorts or pants, his short pants, with a more regular cut. Knee pads, maybe, and a thigh belt to attach all his grenades onto. This looks pretty different already, but like I said, he's often hiding in smoke, so let's go for colors that offer better camouflage. A warm gray color
take them one by one. Show me a target.
My camera is destroyed.
Spike planted.
Destabilizing.
Last player standing.
Breaking them. Making cover.
With yellow accents for the armor and maybe dark blue for the rest to go with a complementary color palette. Very quick edits, but hopefully it's more obvious with
Inside joke.
Take him down.
Show me a target. Over there. Breaking them.
Spike planted.
Over there.
Enemies are B. Somebody's there.
Destabilizing.
Reload him.
One less.
Stopping fire.
Last player standing.
the characters about now. Did we improve this design? Follow for more.
Don't forget us, don't forget us.
Time to bleed.
Oh, hey, can you lift your head up for me, bro? Hey, lift your head up.
Sorry, bro. I got a lot of stuff going on at home. My mom died.
Is that a fitted sheet?
Yeah, I'm just folding it up.
You know how to do that?
I mean, all you gotta do is open it like this, and we pull the sheet off like this, and just get it all nice and central, and you just fold this bit like that. It's pretty self-explanatory, so.
Damn it, Connor, now I'm pregnant.
What?
Oh, shit. You were paying child support. They always said that this could happen.
I know exactly.
This is one of the most common problems in 3D.
This is a character from the game Concord, and despite being the most generic of the... This was submitted by Sean, a student of my art program. He wanted help with the... This is the character from the game Concord, and like many from the game, it's impossible to know what he does based on his design, so let's see if we can improve it. This is supposed to be a healer type, and for a war game where characters are constantly running around, he looks way too fast. So let's slim him down and make him...
I need a gun.
Dream big, make it happen.
Careful now.
Ready for combat. This jacket also looks out of place, with pockets too low to reach, partial armor for the shoulder only, and bright blue colors to let all his enemies know where he is. It's already got the shape of a lab coat, so why not just give him that instead? And the orange gloves were there to balance the blue jacket, so they don't need to be orange anymore. Instead, let's help the players understand that this guy is a healer by using colors that we associate with health, like red, white, and green. And then his long hair that blocks his vision also seems like an odd design choice. So let's give him a quick haircut and equip him with some PPE instead. Not perfect, but I think his role is much clearer now. What do you think? Did we improve this design? Follow for more and click the link. This is a character from the... This was submitted by Artie Addy, a student of my art school program. She was happy with the result, but she wanted to see if I had some feedback, so let's see if we can improve this. This drawing looks great as is indeed, so I'll leave it. But I think we could feature the glow of the flower more. This was submitted by T. This was submitted by... This was submitted...
We've been through worse. No distraction. Well fought. One thing, focus, destabilizing. And you're done. Breaking them. Reloading.
You will not kill my ally.
The hunt begins.
Bot Jones' voice.
So, how about them Concords? Named Concord. Developed by Firewalk Studios, the game was 8 years in the making with a budget of roughly $200 million.
What? Last player standing. 30 seconds left. Spike planted.
Too slow.
What is the most important part of a game? For most people, that has a simple answer. Gameplay. But before you ever play a game, you see it first. Interest is the most important part of a game, because if a product can't call attention to itself, no one will even know it exists. Visual mediums like video games generate most of their interest through character design. In the modern gaming landscape, it's essential for developers to get us invested in their characters because so many games are financially dependent on cosmetics. Recently, the failure of Sony's Concord has got me thinking a lot about character design and how it informs other aspects of games. Today, I want to see what we can learn about character design fundamentals by comparing Concord to Overwatch, the game it so desperately wanted to be. I'd also like to talk about why great character design has made it even more difficult for new IP to succeed in the current market. And finally, I want to explore how character design is currently being used against gamers by the industry. This is Character Design Sells Games. Concord and Overwatch exist at opposite ends of a very long spectrum. One game has character design so good that the industry is still chasing its success almost a decade later, and the other has character designs so bad that it became lost media in just 2 weeks. These are not the same. But why? It's easy to identify Overwatch's stylization as the primary reason for why its designs are so much more appealing, but that's not nearly the whole story. The issues with Concord's designs aren't rooted in realism. You could simplify these designs and they'd still be pretty bad. I know this because Concord already did it. The game had 3 animated shorts that all stylized the character designs, and most were still totally unreadable and just plain terrible. Concord's main problem was that it broke almost every design rule that we instinctively understand as human beings. So before we compare it to Overwatch, let's define one of those rules. Great looking characters are distinguishable. Do you remember those Who's That Pokemon segments where they showed you the cutout of a Pokemon and you had to guess which one it was? Ideally, you'd like whatever you design to be identifiable just from its silhouette. These segments worked because a lot of Pokemon were based on real animals. By grounding their designs in something we knew, it was easier to make them stand out with the use of exaggerated design elements like their anatomy. In a similar vein, here's the silhouette of a xenomorph. Even if you don't know what this creature is, you can clearly tell it's not of this earth. It's an alien. The xenomorph design works because it's anthropomorphic. It's somewhat humanoid, but it's also got many animal characteristics. Our innate knowledge that no combination of these features exists on this planet is what makes the xenomorph design stand out so much. Now, when you get to humans, the cutout example actually gets a lot simpler. Animals are less identifiable than humans because they can't really pose dynamically the way we can. I know an animal may be a golden retriever, but which golden retriever? With humans, you gain the ability to pose and demonstrate human expression through pose and what a character wears. So when you're designing a human character, it's in your best interest to make the combination of their design attributes and their pose as unique as possible. And that brings us back to Concord. These are the worst character designs I have ever seen. And it's not just because they're ugly, it's not because they're realistic, it's because you can't tell what most of them are supposed to be. This is Daw, arguably the worst design in the game. Focus on his outline. When reduced to just his silhouette, he becomes an amorphous blob that is entirely unrecognizable as a Concord character. It doesn't help that his weapon was generic and his pose completely unremarkable. Compare Daw to Mercy from Overwatch. Mercy's design is incredible. Because she's meant to resemble an angel, her wings and halo create a clear and distinct silhouette. Her healing staff also adds to her identity because no one else in the game has a similar primary weapon. I'm comparing Daw to Mercy because Daw was a healer. Most people thought because of his bulky figure that he was a tank, and this was another problem with Concord's designs. It's ingrained in us to think that big things are tough. While Concord does have some designs that read as tank, Daw also fell into that category just because he's so much larger than the rest of the cast. His abilities were a healing pad and a bubble that protected teammates like Winston's. Daw's problem was that he was very slow, so you couldn't play him offensively as a dive character, and you didn't even realize he was a healer, so the character design alone made it difficult to discern what his role was. It doesn't help that when you examine Concord's real tanks, they both have the same silhouette and similar body shapes. Concord's designs also failed because they weren't practical. Itzy, or Fermona Flowers, was one of the game's designs that stood out the most. Her anatomy created a pretty good silhouette, and she had more expression than the other characters, but her design told you nothing about her abilities. Itzy was similar in gameplay to Overwatch's Sombra. Just like Sombra, Itzy debuffed enemies and had a teleport ability that let her reposition after poking enemies. But what about Itzy's design tells you that? Itzy threw out magical balls that had no relevance to the rest of her design. Meanwhile, Sombra's cyberpunk tech aesthetic, all relevant design tells you that. Itzy threw out magical balls that had no relevance to the rest of her design. Meanwhile, Sombra's cyberpunk tech aesthetic already implies that she's a hacker. Our brains understand that hackers disable things, so Sombra taking away our abilities and hacking health packs just makes sense and can be read in her design. But Itzy's debuff and teleportation balls weren't practical to hers because she looks like she's dressed to go to the mall. It's rare to see a game not understand such basic design concepts. Of course, this was most obvious in how ugly Concord's characters were. Back to Daw, what the hell is this color scheme? The blue and orange are complementary colors, but they're wrapped around this baby vomit beige, and the inside lining of his coat is a shade of yellow that isn't seen anywhere else on the character. Imari was another obvious train wreck, with the green and yellow matching fairly well, but then being accented by purple, and none of it having any harmony with her blue lipstick. It says a lot that the only character with a cohesive color scheme looked like a trash can. Even Haymar, one of the game's better looking characters, randomly had yellow sneakers that didn't match the rest of her outfit. Concord's best design was probably Kips. Her thin frame, clothing, and gum indicated that she was a squishy stealth character. Her orange, beige, and pink actually work well, but why is the smallest part of her body, her torso, the only area with a deeper color? Look at Tracer or Soldier 76 or Reaper. These characters, even if they looked more realistic, would still stand out just because of the contrast in their colors. Like Daw, Juno also has blue and orange in her design, but Blizzard used a more vibrant hue and segmented it between her torso and legs to highlight her anatomy. They also used white to accent her extremities. None of this is to say that Concord didn't use colors, it just didn't use them effectively. The muted tones for almost every character just creates a general blandness that shackles any of the designs from standing out. It's baffling that a hero shooter would decide to use vibrancy in its visual presentation, but not its characters. The reason I keep saying that realism isn't the problem with these designs is because there's no rule that says, because realism, characters have to have the most generic poses ever or color palettes that make no sense. Stylization can exist within realism. Games like Cyberpunk 2077 pull it off marvelously, and other mediums like film have been creating iconic, realistic characters for decades. Concord's failure to do so isn't an indictment of the style, it's an accusation that the people designing its characters didn't understand what creates appeal in the first place. This is all to say that Concord's characters aren't cool, they aren't handsome, and they aren't sexy. Though some may not admit it, we're generally attracted to the people we play as in video games. Overwatch has, for a lack of better words, many attractive characters that are very popular across the internet. And yes, they're stylized. But the idea that you can't create attractive characters using realism is insane, because that's like saying no one in real life can be attractive. Concord just clearly wasn't interested in portraying those kinds of designs, and the game reveled in how inoffensive it was. What it was interested in, for some godforsaken reason, was this intestinal aesthetic that is on a lot of the characters and just looks gross. Of course, Concord's design problems were hardly restrained to just its characters. The decisions made with its characters, like their complete lack of readability and muted colors, extended well into its gameplay. Before we move on, I'd like to talk for a brief moment about how character design informs gameplay design, and why Concord was destined to fail. Concord had this awful character called Lark, who had a spore launcher similar to Junkrat's grenade launcher. Just like Junkrat's, Lark's projectiles bounced, but they also had homing capabilities and would be drawn to enemy characters. Lark's projectiles could be hard to see depending on the scenery, and worse, you could be shot around a corner with them so you'd have no idea what was happening. I believe this sort of abhorrent gameplay design and Concord's bad character design go hand in hand and point towards a general inexperience from the people working on it. Because even if you believed that any of these designs were good, the fact that no complaints were voiced or heard is unbelievable. Something like Concord could only exist with either no oversight or it being managed by people who are completely